sovereign citizens. They sound fancy, right? The name might make you think of royalty or some exclusive club, like they rule a tiny island with no taxes, living a carefree life. Sadly, it's not that glamorous. In reality, it's far more complicated and less idyllic. These folks believe they're above the law. They think the government has no power over them. They reject most forms of authority, from taxes to traffic laws. This makes them a tricky bunch to deal with. Imagine getting pulled over for speeding. Instead of handing over your license, you argue the officer has no jurisdiction over you. That's the sovereign citizen way. They often carry documents filled with pseudo-legal jargon, trying to prove their point. They use twisted logic and obscure legal references. Their goal: to avoid taxes, dodge regulations, and even get out of criminal charges. They believe they can opt out of laws they don't like. To them, it's about personal freedom and resisting what they see as government overreach. It's tempting to dismiss them as harmless kooks, but their beliefs can have real-world consequences. They can disrupt court proceedings and waste public resources. Some become confrontational, even violent, when challenged. This can lead to dangerous situations for law enforcement and the public. Understanding this movement is key. It's about protecting ourselves and upholding the rule of law. By being informed, we can better navigate and address the challenges they present. Sovereign citizen ideology is a tangled web, but its roots can be traced back to the 60s and 70s. Think anti-government sentiment, distrust of authority, and a dash of conspiracy theory. Groups like the Posse Comitatus emerged, rejecting federal authority. The movement gained momentum in the 80s and 90s. Economic anxieties fueled anti-government feelings. The internet provided a platform to spread their message. Suddenly, these fringe ideas were reaching a wider audience. At the heart of the sovereign citizen belief system is a desire for control. They believe that true freedom comes from rejecting the authority of the government and reclaiming personal sovereignty. They crave autonomy, freedom from what they perceive as an oppressive government. This desire often manifests in protests and acts of defiance as they seek to assert their independence. They cling to the idea of a common law system, a legal framework they believe predates the current constitutional system. This belief is rooted in a romanticized view of history, where they imagine a time when individuals had more control over their lives. This, they argue, existed before the Constitution and gives them ultimate power. They see these historical documents as evidence of their right to self-governance, often citing obscure legal texts to support their claims. They reject government-issued IDs, driver's licenses, even social security numbers. To them, these are symbols of government overreach and control, tools used to track and manage the population. These are seen as tools of control. By refusing to use them, they believe they are reclaiming their freedom and autonomy, breaking free from the chains of government oversight. They often create their own forms of identification, complete with official-looking seals and legal-sounding jargon. These homemade IDs are a way for them to assert their independence and reject the legitimacy of government-issued documents. Sovereign citizens believe they can opt out of the system. They think that by declaring their sovereignty, they can exempt themselves from laws and regulations they disagree with. They think they can pick and choose which laws they'll follow. This selective adherence to the law creates a complex and often contradictory legal stance, making it difficult for authorities to predict their actions. This makes them unpredictable and potentially dangerous. Their refusal to recognize the authority of law enforcement can lead to confrontations, sometimes escalating into violent encounters. Sovereign citizens' beliefs often lead them into conflict with the law. These individuals reject the legitimacy of government institutions and laws, which they believe infringe upon their personal freedoms. This mindset often results in a variety of legal issues. Tax evasion is a common offense among sovereign citizens. They refuse to pay income taxes, arguing that the federal government has no authority over them. This defiance can lead to serious legal consequences, including hefty fines and imprisonment. They argue they're not subject to income tax, citing obscure legal theories and misinterpretations of the Constitution. These arguments have been consistently rejected by courts, but that doesn't stop sovereign citizens from continuing to use them. They file frivolous lawsuits, clogging up the court system. These lawsuits are often based on convoluted legal theories and are intended to challenge the authority of the courts and other government institutions. Property disputes are another area of contention. Sovereign citizens often refuse to recognize property laws and may attempt to claim ownership of land through dubious means. They might try to claim ownership of land based on convoluted interpretations of property law. This can lead to lengthy legal battles and disputes with legitimate property owners. They might refuse to pay property taxes, leading to foreclosure proceedings. This refusal is often based on their belief that the government has no right to tax their property. And then there's the issue of fake documents. Sovereign citizens are known for creating and using counterfeit documents to support their claims and avoid legal consequences. Sovereign citizens are notorious for creating phony driver's licenses, license plates, even currency. These fake documents are used to deceive law enforcement, financial institutions, and the general public. These counterfeit items are used to deceive law enforcement, financial institutions, and the general public. The use of fake documents is a serious crime that can lead to significant legal penalties, including arrest and prosecution. Section 5. Real-life trouble when sovereigns make headlines. The sovereign citizen movement isn't just a theoretical problem, it has real-world consequences. Take the case of Terry Nichols, convicted for his role in the Oklahoma City bombing. Nichols espoused sovereign citizen beliefs, even trying to renounce his citizenship. Even celebrities aren't immune. Actor Wesley Snipes served time for tax evasion. He'd embraced sovereign citizen ideology, refusing to pay taxes for years. These cases highlight the potential danger of this movement. It's not just about paperwork and legal arguments, it can escalate to violence. Section 6. Protecting ourselves, what can we do? Combating the sovereign citizen movement requires a multi-pronged approach. Law enforcement needs to be trained to recognize and handle encounters with sovereign citizens. Their tactics can be disarming, catching officers off guard. Legislation can help address the movement's more egregious tactics. Laws targeting the creation and use of fake documents can deter fraud and protect the public. But it's not just about punishment. We need to understand the root causes of this ideology. Section 7. The danger of misinformation. Why understanding matters. The sovereign citizen movement thrives on misinformation. They twist legal language, misinterpret historical events, and spread conspiracy theories. This creates a dangerous echo chamber where their beliefs are reinforced. That's why understanding this movement is crucial. We need to be able to identify their tactics, debunk their claims, and prevent the spread of their ideology. This isn't about stifling free speech, it's about protecting ourselves from harm. Section 8. Education is key fighting back against false ideas. Education is our most powerful weapon against the sovereign citizen movement. We need to teach critical thinking skills, media literacy, and civics education. This will help people recognize misinformation and make informed decisions. We also need to support organizations that are working to counter extremist ideologies. Groups that promote understanding, tolerance, and the rule of law are essential in this fight. Section 9. Conclusion. A shared responsibility. The sovereign citizen movement poses a unique challenge. It's a fringe ideology with the potential for real-world harm. Addressing this challenge requires a collective effort. Law enforcement, lawmakers, educators, and the public all have a role to play. We need to be vigilant, informed, and proactive in our response. By understanding the movement's origins, beliefs, and tactics, we can better protect ourselves and uphold the rule of law. This isn't just about legal documents and courtrooms, it's about safeguarding our communities and preserving the fabric of our society.